Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Echo1 and today we are going to take a look at the Leopard one and only. Judging by the title, you might assume that I really like the Leopard, and that is absolutely true. The Leopard is one of the best medium tanks inside of the game, and definitely the best tank inside of its role, which would be a sniping and support role, and it always brings me joy to play this tank. When I've had a couple of bad games, when I've had a couple of bad days in World of Tanks even, or when there was a mission marathon like for the 122 TM, which drained me of every bit of energy that I've even had for the game, I couldn't even look at the game anymore because, yeah, you've probably played it as well, you know what I'm talking about. And in situations like this, I like to go back to the Leopard 1 and play this tank because it's just such a great tank. Today I will show you why, and I hope you can share some of my enthusiasm for this tank. So as always, first of all, let's take a look at some stats. The Leopard has 420 alpha damage, which is not the highest. There are a couple of medium tanks with 440, but most of the time you will be able to trade pretty effectively with this high alpha damage. We have 278mm of penetration on the standard shells with a shell velocity of 1480. These are built for sniping, and you can improve that even further by using the premium ammunition, which I use a ton of on the Leopard 1 because it's just a straight up better ammunition. You have penetration of 323mm, and everything about the shell stays the same, so it's just better than your standard shells. You have also great HE shells with 510 damage, so 90 damage more, that's always nice, and a penetration of 105mm, which is pretty good for HE. But that's not all. You have 0.28 accuracy, and this is one of the most accurate guns inside of the whole game. It is just a joy to shoot at targets and to hit them pretty reliably even at very long distances. The dispersion while moving, turning the tank or the turret are also pretty good, especially only if you only turn the turret when you're standing still, you can snapshot pretty reliably. In other good news, we have a top speed of 70 km/h forward, 23 km/h backward, so that is pretty good and it allows you to relocate very easily. The only thing that kind of holds the Leopard back at some points when it comes to the mobility is the horsepower to weight ratio. It's just not as nimble as a lot of the other light or medium tanks or even the light tanks, and it takes a bit of time to accelerate, but as soon as you reach its speed you will be able to get from A to B very effectively. And there's even more good news. You have 9 degrees of gun depression, and that allows you to play a lot of the ridgelines in World of Tanks very effectively. So now you might think that's it for the good news, but nope, there is even more. We have 14% camo when stationary, 10% when moving, and 410 meters of view range. Combine these together and you have a vehicle that is very good at spotting and also at not getting spotted. However, at some point all of the good things must come to an end, and for the Leopard, this is all the good news we have. Now let's take a look at the armor, or rather the lack of armor. As you can see here, the armor is pretty much a complete weak spot all over the vehicle. You do have some of these magic ricochet angles if you are lucky, but you should never expose your tank and expect to bounce any damage at all. You are also very vulnerable to HE with only 35mm, as you can see here for example, or even only the 70mm of top armor that you have on this tank. You are very likely to take a lot of damage from any HE shells that will come towards you. So here we are on steps, and the first thing you want to do in a tank like this is to support your light tanks. Usually, if they are playing it right, they will try to fight for the middle, and you can already see me pre-aim in an area where I expect the opponent's light to be spotted at. Well, it doesn't really happen there. T49 is in the middle, but with a gun like this, it's very easy to just go forward and snapshot T49, even though it's moving fast. Now he is behind a rock there. I didn't aim there perfectly, I should have taken more time, but for some reason I expected to hit him quite easily there, and that's why I fluffed the shot. At the EBR, I'm shooting HE, like I said, 105mm of penetration. It would be good against the T49, but if you only hit the wheel of the EBR, or if you only hit the gun of the EBR, you won't deal a lot of damage. Luckily for us, the T49 is taken out by artillery, the EBR is a one-shot, and that's already pretty good success for our team. Well, the artillery misses, but our EBR commits completely, taking out their EBR, so the middle is, being spotted and is won by our team. I could stay there and try to support our Leopard, our EBR 105, but at the moment I thought that the right flank would be a little bit more important, since there were a couple of tanks spotted already, and the EBR 105 was just a one shot and I didn't know what he was gonna do, so I decided to go over here. Our EBR 105 died while pushing there, and yeah, I think that was actually the right choice to go over here in the beginning. This is, by the way, one of the situations that you would want to be in your Leopard 1. Behind cover, not being spotted, and able to chew away your opponent's hit point one shot at a time. You can see that it really doesn't take a long time to aim, and if you are aimed, the gun is very accurate, and even with standard shells I'm able to penetrate targets very reliably on this flank here. Now, this is a situation that will happen a lot on this map. Both teams will try to push in to the area where the Skoda is located now, but with very strong defensive positions like the one that I've been up here, or the one that the opponent has in the north, it's very hard to keep pushing these flanks. Especially if you are in a tank like the Leopard 1, where you have virtually no armor, and with 3 artilleries in your opponent's team, you don't want to commit to a flank like this. The only thing that will happen is you will get outspotted and you will get killed by your opponent. So what do? I decide to relocate, try to put my tank to use at some other position. The middle of the map, I don't like playing it. It's just very open, and if you get spotted there, it's not gonna last long. Also, there were a couple of tanks spotted on the left flank. It looks like our tanks are dug in quite nicely here, so they would have good position, but I still feel like I could support our team on this flank. In this situation, it's just important that you learn patience in World of Tanks. This goes for the eastern flank as well. They should have just fallen back, taken their defensive positions, and hope for the opponents to push. Sometimes you just can't force it, because if you force it, you will see what happens on the eastern flank. They will just lose. You have good defensive positions, make use of them. Don't try to be the hero, don't try to force it like I said, and just accept the fact that at some point you cannot play the game the way that you want to play it. But let's focus on what's going on here. I am able to peek up here with the 9 degrees of gun depression. I'm able to shoot the ST1 there. I didn't aim that well, but that's another story. The gun depression, like I said, 9 degrees is pretty good, and it allows you to play a ridge line like this up here as well. I've re-peeked the same position twice already. I'm going to re-peek it one more time. I only tracked the ST-1 there, not able to penetrate him. What I did right, however, even though I re-peeked the same position, I tried to go dark, I tried to be unspotted, and then re-peek it again. But you will see what happens to the IS-3 up there. He goes into the same position that I've just been in. The opponent adjusted to that, and they were all pre-aimed. So if I would have been up there, if I were to re-peek the same position one more time, I would have gotten that punishment. Now, this was not a very well aimed shot. I was behind cover, I was not spotted, so I had time, and I should have aimed it more carefully. This was also not very well aimed, and therefore I'm not able to penetrate. Now what I want to do is relocate once again, because I know that the opponent is gonna aim where I was at. I am trying to go up here, see that the Jagdtiger is over there, and at this distance there's just no way he's not gonna spot me. So I realize that, fall back immediately, and get a bit of spotting damage against the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger was the tank that spotted me, and I was the tank that spotted him, so when he goes dark, usually that's the moment when I go dark as well. And that means I'm able to peek that corner. I am behind that bush. I go deeper into the bush and until I can see through it, and then I fall back again, and if it's no longer see-through, I can engage the Jagdtiger without the danger of getting spotted there. Well, 2 tanks or 3 tanks left on this flank. The Projectile is already low HP, the ST-1 is already a one-shot, so actually it looks pretty good on this side. However, the right flank, like I said, they were playing this too aggressively. They engaged into a position that is just very, very strong, and therefore a lot of the tanks died over there already. And now the opponent, who have the number advantage, are going to push in and take out the majority of our team over there. I realize that, I wanna go back, and the Projectile gets spotted in the middle. For our 704, who is quite unfortunate there and gets ammo wrecked, it's a little too late, but at least I'm able to take out the Projectile. Now it's 8-11, well, make that 8-12, and I try to juke the opponent there. I pretend to go forward, then turn around and go back again, and now I'm engaging the 263. It doesn't even phase me, so there's no reason for me to use the cover of the 212A there, but you can still do that if you are in a position like this. Now our RT is going taken out as well, and that only leaves the 60 TP on about 600 HP and me inside of this game. So far I'm still pretty healthy, and we have a TVP approaching. This tank has a very dangerous autoloader. It can deal about 1200 damage within 4.5 seconds, so I want to take this tank out as fast as I can. The fact that he didn't push into me immediately, to me means that probably he's not reloaded, and that's why I want to push him and take him out as fast as I can. Artillery tracked me, I repair and try to go after him, take him out with the shot. I don't heal the stun, because at a distance like this, the gun is still gonna perform reliably even if I'm stunned, and I don't worry about taking out the TVP 50. Now the opponent is capturing our base, which means I know exactly where the tank is. I take out the Grille, and at the same time the 60 DP in our team gets taken out as well. He managed to kill 1 artillery, and the other 2 artillery probably were busy with him up there as well, which is the reason why I don't get shot when I'm going around down here. The Leopard PTA gets spotted up here. You can see I'm stopping, doesn't take a long time, I'm aiming just a bit, and it is fully aimed within very short time period, and I'm able to take out the Leopard PTA there. And this is a situation where usually the game is actually already won. However, I am going to try to play this very smart, and this is something I would recommend. Don't do it. I do have 800 HP, I should be able to take one shot most of the time at least from the artillery, so I could play this pretty aggressively. However, I do know where the GW Tiger was spotted last, and now, like I said, I'm trying to be smart. I'm trying to blind shot him up there. You can see, however, that if there's an explosion, I don't hit the target, and you can clearly see the explosion appear after each shot. So 3 shots that I didn't hit the GW Tiger up there. I didn't learn the lesson. I still wanna try to find him up there. Shoot another time. Didn't spot him. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's not going to be up there. I could also spot the area behind the tracks, so I'm assuming that there's not gonna be any tanks left up there, which leads me to the exception that the tanks will probably be at the A7 area. Now, I'm going over here, and this is what happens when RNG just had enough of you in the game. The gun has been performing very well throughout the entirety of the game. Most of the shots were going exactly where I aimed them, but when you need them against an artillery, sometimes it's just not meant to be. 2 shots went into the ground, and the 3rd shot, yeah, it rolls low for only 491, so the GW Tiger, who would be a 50-50 one-shot with the HE usually, or even more than that, is still alive. And I'm going to take him out with APCR. Now, once again, I'm trying to be smart. I predicted that with the eastern flank being won for our opponent, the artillery would probably relocate somewhere along this line. The M53 was a pretty good player. I had XVM at the moment of this replay, and I knew that he was a pretty good player, so I assumed that he would relocate if he sees that the left or the western flank is falling, but the eastern flank is pushing. This would give him a different angle and would give him the opportunity to play with his team rather than just sit in the corner. However, if you know the principle of Occam's razor, it says that most of the time, if there are a couple of solutions to a problem, the simplest solution is probably the right solution. In the case of an artillery player, this means they don't really move that much. Now we only have 16 seconds remaining. I spot the M53, but he's still on full HP, and I only deal 420 damage with my average roll. So I am going to have to ram it, or I have to be insanely lucky, set the opponent on fire, and therefore burn the last remaining 12 HP of the M53 with this last shot. This was an incredibly close game in the end. It didn't have to be. Like I said, I overthought it insanely, and that was absolutely unnecessary. So, conclusion time. What can we learn from a game like this? First of all, like I've demonstrated so perfectly, don't overthink it. Don't try to make the game overly complicated if it's really not. 2 artilleries versus 1 tank, you know what you have to do, and I knew what I had to do, but I wanted to play it extra smart, and therefore almost lost the game. That was a certain win in that case. The second thing that we can learn is play the map. You can't just change the map because you want to. It will stay the same way. If your opponent has an advantageous position over you, if your opponent has the cover, if your opponent has the protection, why would you push into them? You are not going to win that just because you really want to or because you really try hard. It's not gonna work. Accept that and react accordingly. Fall back, let your opponent make the mistake, or try to be active somewhere else on the map. In the case of the Leopard, it's very easy to relocate, and that's something that you've seen me do in this replay as well. In the beginning, I supported our light tanks in the middle, because I knew that I could still be on either side when the team needs me, so there's no reason to rush to one side immediately. We were able to take out the medium tanks with the help of our team, and the light tanks with the help of our team, so that was already a huge win in this game. Then I went to the right flank, supported them once again with the strength of the vehicle, using the great gun, using the great camo value, and using basic bush mechanics. Stay hidden, engage your opponent, deal damage, and don't lose any hit points. Then once again I switched to flank, supported our team there, just by spotting, just by dealing a bit of damage, and also by distracting the opponent. Sometimes it's not even necessary that you do something, but just for your opponent to know that you are there, that you are a potential threat, that also might give your team an advantage. And the last thing that we could see is don't repeat the same position over and over again. If you are spotted, especially in a game with 3 artilleries, it's just very dangerous to re-engage your opponent in the same way over and over again. I was lucky. The IS-3-2, however, paid the price for going into position that I've been a couple of seconds before. It got taken out almost immediately from full HP to 0 HP, and that's just how dangerous it can be. Considering that the IS-3-2 has some armor and the Leopard 1 doesn't, you could imagine that if I were in that position one more time, I would have died even faster. The Leopard 1 is an amazing tank with incredible capabilities. If put in the hand of a right player, it is just an insane force to be reckoned with. However, if you are a new player, if you are new to the game, if you still have problems with the base mechanics, if you don't know all the maps yet, stuff like that, stay away from the Leopard 1. You will not enjoy it as much as you would in a later stage of the game where you have more experience. If you are looking for a medium tank for beginners, go up the 430 U line for the Russian tech tree. That is very beginner friendly and a way better approach for medium tank gameplay overall. But if you've already got experience, if you like playing medium tanks, if you like being active in your medium tanks, I assure you the Leopard 1 is just an absolute joy to play, and I'm pretty sure that you will fall in love with it as the same way I did. So, that's it. I hope we could learn something. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.